So you've set up Data Controller to work with your integration, but how do we receive data from said integration? Well, to do that, we need to go into the command matrix here, and we need to set up some commands. So think of commands as instructions. The device we're integrating with is going to send something. It may be relay 1 on a GPI has been set to high or low, and when that happens, we want to do something, such as in playout 1, playing a legal ID, starting the next commercial break, etc. So this is where all those instructions live. It's called the command matrix. Now I'm going to set up a command, first of all, to listen out for a certain event from a broadcast tool switcher, and when we get it, we're going to play a legal ID. Let's pretend we are connected and taking the ESPN network. They're going to fire a trigger over the satellite. It'll come into our broadcast tool switcher, and then it will arrive here in Data Controller, and that's where we then want to do something with it. So here's how we set it up. The first thing we're going to do is give this new command a description. So we'll call it legal ID. The group, if it's not available from the drop-down box, you can select or you can type a new group name in. So this is going to be for ESPN. Groups are really important because when you're listening to the ESPN satellite, you're going to have other things coming in from all over the place, from different satellite receivers, different services. We only want to action ESPN commands when we are taking an ESPN show. So it's really important you group all your commands with a similar group name. Now, for stations, you select which station you want this command to be triggered on. We've only got one here, so it's going to be our main air station. And then we move over to the right, and this is where we build our commands. So we're going to choose serial, and then we're going to click build, and we're going to then be able to choose what we want to do. So the integration, we set this up in an earlier video, our broadcast tool switcher called main sat. So we select that. And then we have the option to pick which relay we want to listen to on a broadcast tool switcher. So relay number 5, when it goes on, we then want to do something in playout 1. So from the next section, outgoing command, we can choose what we do in playout 1. You've got the option here to choose from just regular commands, or you can select predefined commands that you've set up yourself. Now, I'm going to choose net play because I want a UID to play out the net player. And for this, it's our legal ID. So I'm going to literally type in my legal ID UID, which is legal. I'm going to hit add, and there is our first command in the matrix ready and waiting to be triggered. So let's do one more. Let's this time pick Axia and listen to an Axia event. So I want to fire a liner, and this time this show is on the Westwood 1 network. So I'm going to create a new group called Westwood 1. I'm going to select my station. I'm now going to choose Axia, and I'm going to click build, and now we have some more events based on what we can choose from an Axia node. So it's going to be a GPI input. We're going to choose our node that we set up in an earlier video for our integration, node 1, and now we can configure which GPI number, which pin, and whether it's on or off. So we'll hit OK on that. And now we go to the outgoing command, and this is where we want to now choose what happens when this command is triggered. So it's going to be a net play again. We're going to fire our liner, and our liner UID is liner 1. Oh dear. I hope our CEO Ricky Lee isn't watching this video because that lowercase r is really going to annoy him. Let's hit add. Let's move on. Let's do one more, shall we? Let's do a play next event from ESPN. Let's pretend they're going to fire a SLIO on a Wheatstone blade. Get the right terminology. And when that happens, we want to start the next event in the log with a play next command. So we'll set this all up. We'll go into Wheatstone here. We'll choose a software LIO, SLIO as I know it. Blade 2, we set this up in an earlier video. And then here we can choose what we want to do. So it's going to be on channel, what should we pick? Channel 8? Yeah, why not? So when channel 8 turns on in the SLIO in playout 1, we're going to do a play next. And when this happens, the log will advance onto the next item in the log. It's that simple to set up commands. It really, really is. So I got a bit bored and added some more commands, as you can see. And I'm now going to show you some extra settings we have. Once you've added your commands, you can double click on them. And if you click on the day part grid, you can actually day part out this command from certain hours. So if this command shouldn't be fired overnight because we have two legal IDs, they both listen off the same trigger event, but this one cannot fire overnight. So we can block that out. very simply like so. And then we have another command for legal ID. We can do something similar where we block out the rest of the day and leave it only for overnights. There's also some extra settings in here to be alerted. If a command is not received for a certain amount of time, you can also delay a command. So if you need to bring it into Data Controller, but sort of delay it by 5 seconds or whatever, you can do that all within Data Controller. Very, very simple. So that's how we set up commands. If you have any other questions, please do not hesitate to drop us an email via support@air.com.